Howdy folks, TJ here. Update number 12 was dropped over the weekend on our beloved Specnext Kickstarter number 2. And let's get the monkey off the back, or whatever they call it, right off the chute. I kind of quickly perused it. Unfortunately, it looks like there is going to be a delay on our Specnext shipping in August. I didn't see anything in there that put a new specific date in the equation, but they're working on it as quickly as they can, and hopefully the delay is not super long. So let's read on, and what I'm going to do is read some of the update and then chat about it a little bit, and hopefully that kind of keeps you abreast of what's going on with the Specnext. So the title of this one's called Production Latest Parts Issues. That's the big tickler there. Parts issues. That seems to affect everybody in the world right now. Games, apps. It's a new and big update, he calls it. So Henrique goes on to say it has been slightly longer than usual to get this update out. It's a very packed one. So he says, make sure to brew a cup of tea. I wonder how many of you Specky owners are drinking tea and not a little something else. It's only, let's see, 10 a.m. here, so I'm not drinking yet. I mean, I've had my share of drinking booze early in the morning, but I'm kind of past that state of my life now. I kind of prefer to do that in the evening and then go to bed a little shortly afterwards. So let's read the update. So production update is what he gets to right away. It looks like he says they have been taking longer than expected to work on the 2C board, so it's still called 2C board redesign, and they've been testing it and testing it and testing it. It looks like he kind of says that they've been grappling with a dozen issues that still need sorting out. So apparently the board is still being actively worked on, looked at, tested, and that's a good thing. I mean, we want this board to be better than the last board. My next over here, you probably don't see it in the camera, but is wonderful, but it does have a couple of hiccups that hopefully they resolve in this next one. So I'm glad they're putting extra time into making this right. So let's see, let's continue reading on. During the first Kickstarter, they said they had a balance between just get the thing shipped or can we make it slightly better. So he's kind of setting up an image of back when the first Kickstarter 1 was done and them having to grapple with stuff, and do they take longer? Then they just get it out the door. So I'm not going to read this stuff verbatim again. This is kind of for you to go check it out and read. I just wanted to kind of cover the basics of it. And so he's setting things up a little bit here about some things they experienced in Kickstarter 1, what they're working on with Kickstarter 2, and the past couple of months with the help of amazing people. And he calls out Tim and Alan. They've been tweaking the 2C design on 19 different fronts, ranging from big adjustments such as optimizing memory lanes. This goes right over my head. I'm not super techie when it comes to that. I kind of understand it, but I'm not the one to do the work. So, but talks about this memory lanes from FPGA to RAM chips, and to reducing interference from components, which is a good thing because we don't want interference. That's always a little nuisance, you know. Working with, looks like, third-party add-ons. They don't want to make obsolete by making some tweaks that kind of screw things up. He does have, there's not too many pictures in this update, but there was one of the LED Blinkinator, which looks really cool. Looks like an add-on board we can maybe at some point buy and put in and have funky fun lights on our Next. So there is a picture of these LED strips, and they basically said they don't want to do something on the board to affect this. So that looks like they're looking at those things, which is good. They don't want to screw anybody else's work up too with these adjustments. So that's very cool. And this is the big long chapter. It looks like the results are looking strong with the 2C prototypes. So they're still in prototype stage, it looks like. And the bottom line is, it says they'll likely burn past. They used the word burn past the original August estimation, but it shouldn't be by much. So that's a good thing. The bigger risk is the timeline of the 2C board design. It's global parts shortage. So if you are under a rock, you may not understand, but there's lots of part shortages right now from everything in the industry. I work in the fly fishing industry, and there's been some shortages too. If it's just people, in some cases, getting stuff done. In the electronic world, there's parts shortages. So we all kind of saw the fly on the wall. We were thinking a long time ago that there may be some type of delay in our August shipment. So I don't think that comes as a shock to too many people. And so far, the few posts that I've read, everybody seems to kind of acknowledge that. So that's kind of cool. Global part shortage affecting electronics. So that's the major issue that they're looking into right now. So I'm glad he kind of pointed that out and is letting us know well before August and not the day of. So very cool. Thanks for letting us know that. And they basically are working as hard as they can with no compromises to get the quality of the computer we owe you, he says. So cool. Great. So he goes on for part shortages worldwide. There's a whole chapter on this, and I'm not going to cover that. It would take forever probably to... This is a big, long chapter. And yeah, I'm not going to read it all, but needless to say, he goes into some factors on the part shortage, what they're looking into. So read that for yourselves, and he talks about memory chips and all these other things. Next chapter is ESP modules. This is the one where it appears that they've decided to make their own. So let's kind of read about that. The Wi-Fi modules were used in the past. Were in the plus and accelerated models was an ESP 8266. Proved to be inconsistent with noise perspective. That's maybe what I experienced with the little hips and chips and stuff. So what they did is they sourced out, instead of sourcing the part in the market, we commissioned a company to build them for us at spec. And it looks like they've done that, and they're very happy, it looks like so far. The new modules are the best we've ever tested. And it proved that this partner that they've chosen has had very good quality and also coming in at a budget that fits their needs. So they're also going to be giving some extra work out to these folks. So not only are they doing the ESP module, it looks like they already handle the new PSU, power switch, and the 16 gigabyte SD card. So cool. They're giving these folks some extra business. So awesome. So they have a picture, so there are some pictures of our exclusively made ESP modules rock, but in silence. Silent rock, is there such a thing? Yeah, rocks do lay silent. They don't do anything until you pick it up and throw it across the river and make lots of noise and scare all the fish. Don't do that. That means TJ catches less fish. Okay, so that's it on the ESP module. We'll read more into it, but they've made their own. Testing awesome so far, so wonderful. RF and CE testing results. So they go on to talk about some interference on this 2C board. Looks like to me this little chapter kind of covers the good news that the changes that they've made will sort out this first test that they had that seemed to fail, and that the ESP 266 that was tested wasn't the one made specially for us later. So they need to go in and retest with their own spec board. So cool. Look forward to them coming out with information on that. 2C board new batch of boards. We've commissioned the production of a new batch of test boards. So they're still in the testing phase here. It's summer, it's June, and August is just around the corner. So now we can see that they're putting some more time in the testing. Obviously some part shortages, and we're going to let that phone ring. It is. Although maybe I'll get it. Yeah, I'm going to get this, so I'm going to hold. Hello? Yeah, no one was there. Dummies. Probably one of those crank calls. We've got insurance on your car that's out of insurance now. Could we sell you insurance? I hate crank caller people. They just want to rip their necks off. So 2C, they're working on, it looks like, a new batch of boards. So cool. I'll let you guys read that nitty gritty of that, but it looks like they're working on, this week we're ordering the manufacturing of what should be the final test batch of their 2C board. So very cool. Internal speaker circuit revamp. I don't have a speaker on my Next. This is something that they continue to make a end user install. I don't know necessarily if I'm going to do it or not. I never did it on that one, but it looks like they're making some changes to the speaker circuit revamp. I'm not going to need read the nitty gritty of this, but they have some technical stuff in here that I don't quite follow that much, but needless to say, it says the new singles are being routed to the speaker. now renamed JX3, to make it easier to get better audio results from the internal speaker. So they've done some adjustments for those that are going to add a speaker that you'll hopefully get better sound, I'm guessing. So very cool. New core and firmware. Man, this is a long update. Whilst we don't get an indication on when the next official distro will be assembled, Gary has compiled a list of changes to the next ZX OS. So there's a whole chapter on a new core and new firmware that they chat about that has all these new additional features. I'm not going to read through them. You read for yourselves, but it looks like they continue to work on a new core and firmware. The new one is 3.01.10 feature, and they've got all these things listed underneath it that it's going to add. So very cool. They continue to update our next ZX OS. I'm just kind of quickly looking through to see if anything kind of jumps out. No, they all look great. So all things that are probably usable and bug fixes and stuff like that. A description of some of the new features in the new FPGA core was mentioned last time. But yeah, I'm not going to read any of that. Needless to say, they're updating the OS and the core. So very cool. BBC Basic ported to the Spectrum Next. So I have not ventured into, as you see, I've got Sam Coupes, Sinclair ZX80s, Nexts, Aquariuses. This is just a little sample of, I've got a lot of retro computers. One I have not dived into yet is BBC, or Amstrad for that matter, and a lot of others too. I just run out of room. Maybe one day I'll be independently wealthy and I can make a big game garage or something and have all this stuff. But they said that BBC Basic, which I've heard a lot of people say, hey, I love BBC Basic, and they ported it to Spectrum Next, which is very cool. Does that mean I may have to explore BBC Basic down the road? I would say yes. Maybe if I want to update my own, make my own game that I've been making on the Next, make it work in the BBC. That's kind of cool. I don't know if I'll ever venture to there, but so you can start playing with BBC Basic on your Speccy Next. Cool. Thanks for that addition. And they have some links that you can follow. So if you're in the BBC, I'm sure that's pretty big, awesome news. Odin. Sounds very Greek. Odin. Or is that Norse? Odin. That might be Norse. I don't know. Since early 2020, Matt Davies has been working on assembler Odin. Now this goes above my head. I'm not into assembly or assembler or any of those things. I can barely handle Next ZX Basic, but it looks like this is going to be well used by folks that are more program knowledgeable than I. So Odin, there's some links to what you can do with it. Matt Davies, I have him as a friend on Facebook, has been working on this, and it looks like, so this is what gods, see, there is gods involved in it, looks like on the inside. I don't understand that, but okay. So cool. So check out Odin if you're a better programmer than I and going past Next ZX Basic. I don't know if you can use any of this. I'm guessing you have to get into assembly language, and that's not my cup of tea as of yet. Maybe in a few years. So cool. ZXDB search and download update with proper credits. I've covered that a number of times in past videos. I've shown you videos of it working, so I won't stick on this too long, but it looks like they continue to update ZXDB database and way for you to quickly download games and apps on your Next without having to take the SD card and putting it in another computer and copying stuff over. Love it. So I use that now, and very cool. Looks like they continue to update that. Bikers physical release. Cool. So I don't own Bikers. It's a game made for a Next. They are going to come out with a physical release again. And from what I read, this is going to be the last physical release. So I'm going to dive on it. Let's see, does it say when? It just says head over to Cavern website to get your digital edition right away. And join the Facebook thread to show your support for the initiative. I, for one, can't wait for my order, my box, and start burning rubber. Okay, gotcha, cool. So, no set date, but to my knowledge, keep an eye on Bikers. Will be a physical release. If you're a collector and want to have everything Next that you can collect now, get on the Bikers bandwagon. So, cool. Baggers in Space, The Detour. Looks like that's the official big name. I don't remember reading that before, so Baggers in Space, The Detour, is being worked on, coded by the same team responsible for the first Escapade, obviously Baggers in Space. More enemies, bigger levels, more bosses, new collectibles, more of everything, and black holes. So beware of those. So the picture that they have on here, when I first looked at it, I didn't know it was a black hole, but my mind immediately said black hole. And I posted in the Facebook Next group saying, that looks like a black hole. And I think somebody messaged back, yes, it is a black hole. So I was on the mark. Very cool. Michael Ware was the one that actually said that, yeah, it's a black hole. So cool. Baggers in Space looks to be continuing to be working on. Then they go right into Tiberian, the Victor the Spoils. So they continue to work on the new Tiberian game. To the Victor the Spoils is created by Michael Ware, Flash, and Alan Ishwa. I don't know how to pronounce that. Oh, there's all sorts of other stuff. Alan Ishwa Bostrup Sorensen. That's a long name. Space Fractal. And so they talk about Tiberian. There's a new picture of a Tiberian. So there are more pictures in here now that my internet's so slow. The other day it took 10 minutes for it to show pictures in a thread. So these pictures may have been there the other day when I was just seeing text. So cool. Hibernated 1, now available for the Next, and a boxed version on its way. Looks to me like a text type of adventure game. Hibernated 1, I have not heard of that. Stefan Voigt and Puddle Software have just released Hibernated 1. So check that out. There's links in here on how to go to the itch.io account and download it. And you can also order physical copies, and they have a link to that too. So check that out. Picture looks awesome. Is this the place where I can order a copy? Next flavor, please. So very cool. Itchy lip. Wonderland, the Wonderland text event. A lot of text adventures. You know, I'm not a super... I love Zork. I love text adventures. But this day and age, I like a quick in and out video game. But I also still like text games. I just don't have the time to really get in depth on them. But there's a lot of people that love text adventure games. And there's also pictures involved too. So that makes it more fun if you can get a little visual sensation. But there's a Adventure Wonderland now available for download that you can get, and it has a picture of it. Looks like a mean Cheshire cat kind of thing. With evil eyes. Cats are evil, right? I've got 3 of them. They're trying to kill me. So, information about the game. Check it out. So, another text adventure. Nerd Addict News. There's a new information source around the Spectrum Next. I've seen this, and I have joined this guy's YouTube channel. ZXSpectrum Next. He has a lot of specky stuff, and it's called the Nerd Addict channel on YouTube. So there's a link in here by David Heaney. He's the gentleman that does this, and he has lots of fun videos on his YouTube channel. So fellow YouTuber, welcome aboard. I've already joined your group, I believe, and I've been watching some of your videos for great work. I love seeing other people's takes on stuff. So a link there. And then he has a big, Henrique has, and so we're at the end. And it says here, and that's it for now. We're mindful you'll want to hear more from the latest on the 2C board manufacturing, testing, and components. So needless to say, they will come back. Stay tuned. Henrique will come back with another update down the road. But that was a big one. Unfortunately, as noted, kind of beginning, I got right to the bad. I get into the bad news. Rip that Band-Aid right off. There's going to be a delay, but hopefully not super long delay. I'm going to throw out a wild guess here. Holidays. You know, if August was the original one, we know it's going to now be probably fall, because fall's the next month afterwards. So let's say November. That's when I think it may, even December. Some point towards the 3rd or 4th quarter of the year. So that's what I'm going to say is going to happen. We'll see if I'm right. And if I'm right, I win $1 billion. And if I'm wrong, I still don't get anything. So thanks for watching the video. Hopefully you found this entertaining. And keep your spirits up. A little bit of a delay, it looks like. But we kind of all sense that. So deal with it as best as we can. Great job, Next team. And thanks for the update, Henrique. Peace.